All right, good morning, everyone. This is Michael from CFRN. It is Monday, October 3rd, 2011, and we're going to do sort of a strange recap. I'm going to narrate while Bert scrolls through the charts. You can see here on this first trade, we had a big bubble on the bottom, and the price pulled back up to the BBC. So we would have been looking to short the BBC up there for a move down to 1114, 1114 and a half, right in that area. There was one little area right there where Brent just had his cursor there that might have made us not want to take this trade, okay, right in there. So then we had to wait. We had to wait till we got a lower swing pivot and another bubble. That did not happen until the move up. As we scrolled to the right, the BBC was inside the box, and you can see there at 9 o'clock, well 10 o'clock my time, 9 o'clock on those charts, on Bert's charts, Central Time. We had a news event happening. All that stuff between 9 o'clock and 9:01, we really didn't have any opportunity to get into anything right there. So we had to wait until until it moved beyond that, and it gave us a second bubble over there. All right, right over there. Yep. Scrolling more to the right, there we had our bubble and our pullback down to the BBC. That one unfortunately dropped straight through the BBC and kept going down. One thing worth noting, yep, right there. One thing worth noting is right down there on the combo, where the green went right down through the the cycle at the point of entry. That suggested it was going to have some follow through in that direction. Yep, right in there. Yep. Anyway, that's good. And then moving right to BBC, then went back inside the box, and we didn't have a short opportunity in there. It kept inside the box as we scrolled to the right until it came out of the box. Once it came out of the box, we had a new bubble, and we were looking for our pullback. Our pullback to the BBC. A little farther over to the right. We were looking for it there, but we didn't get it. So we finally got it farther over to the right, where it pulled back to the actual BBC over there. Nope, all the way over there. You go. That one right there. Again, you see on the bottom, right down there where the cursor is, we had a bubble. But on the combo, everything was headed down right there, suggesting we were going to get a move in that direction, and it did. So we started out the day with those two failed trades. All right. Now, granted, we didn't take any live trades this morning. I just want to point that out. But these are the trades that set up. The next one, where you see where it has narrow drawn in there, we had a pullback up to the BBC, but we couldn't take that one because we had the double bottom right below it. But the one after it, we could take right there. That one right there was good for 2 points. Nope, the next one after that, right there. Yep, that was good for 2 points. We had the pullback, a fresh, clean pullback up with a little tiny bubble, but there was a bubble there nonetheless, and that was good for 2 points. Then we needed to get another bubble, which we did get there, and you can see we had another trade set up there for another 2 points at about 9:39 on Bert's charts, right there. That was good for another 2. Then we had another trade set up right there at 9:41, and we have to scroll right and see where that one went. Whoa, where'd that go? There it is. 9:41. The entry on that was around 19 and a quarter, 19. Yeah, right in there, 19 and a quarter. It dropped down to, how far down did it go? I'm sorry, it did get down to 17 there, where it would have been a break-even trade right there, because we would have moved our stop up to break-even, or maybe locked in a tick. So that would have ended up being a break-even trade. So on the day at this point, you would have been break-even on the ES. All right. Now it's 9:54, and from there the BBC went inside the box and stayed inside the box until, well, stayed inside the box for quite some time. We didn't have a trade there. We didn't have anything in there where Bert's cursor is. We didn't have anything. Then we needed to get a fresh bubble over there, and right here, yep, right in there is where it pulled out. But we didn't take that bounce right there because we needed a higher swing pivot in there. Okay, so we go right just a little bit more, and then looking at that, we did have a trade there at 10:23 roughly. Yep, right there. We had a higher swing. It pulled back down to the BBC. Price at that in that trade right there was about 22.5. So we're looking for it to get up to 24.5, 23.5 before you move your stop up to break even. 20.5 was the stop on it. So that one there stopped out. Okay. So that would have been right there a losing trade. Went back in the box, stayed in the box, stayed in the box. Then at that point we were in our break period between then and right now. All right, so we didn't have any additional trades set up. So just taking the ones that set up, you would have been up to that point. You would have been down one trade. Okay, down 8 ticks. But we didn't take any live trades this morning, so we didn't have anything to report actually. So the ES was a little hard to trade this morning, but the YM, well, this is the ES 4 tick range. If we jump over to the ES 10,000 contract now, we can go through that one pretty quickly. You can see we had where are we, 8:30. We had a pre-market pullback up to the BBC, which we didn't do anything with. Then right at the news event, we had a huge pullback up to the BBC right there. Yep, that giant candle right there, which we didn't do anything with. After we had our bullish cross, we had a pullback down to the BBC. That moved up nicely. And one thing worth noting also is the pierce of the envelope down there. We had that going for us. Yep, right down there. And price moved up strongly off the BBC and the news that came out at the top of the hour there at 9 o'clock Central. All right, then price fell. We had a bearish cross and price dropped down below the BBC and pulled back up right there where that arrow is. So we had another short entry right there, another short opportunity right there for another 2 points. And just scrolling right at this point, we were at 11 o'clock our time. So if we scroll right a little bit more, yeah, keep going. We had another bullish cross right there with a pullback down to the BBC for an entry. Right there, that was it right there. And that was pretty much all we had. Yep. That was pretty much all we had for the morning on the 10K chart. So we had we had a few opportunities, and all of them were winning opportunities on the 10K chart. All right. So now if we can jump over to the YM quickly, then we will we'll be able to show you everything that happened over there. The YM was a little easier to trade this morning. Starting there at 8:30. All right, we had the bearish cross, and then right there we had a bullish cross, and then a pullback down that dropped right through the BBC. When you have a big bar like that going toward the BBC, that's the entry bar. I like to let the bar go and see where it's going to end, because usually if it's got a lot of momentum like that bar right there, you just let it go. That was right on a news event, so you let the thing go, and then it went up and we had a bullish cross. Okay, right there was the bullish cross, and then we had a pullback down to the BBC. Alright, and after the pullback down to the BBC, we would be looking for a close back up above the BBC. Right there, you see that bar that pulled down to the BBC had a lot of momentum in it, so I would have been looking for a close above the BBC. We had some bullish divergence right there as well, so we could have looked for a couple of different things. One is just to close above the BBC, with the window of opportunity being the area between the BBC and the MA1. Yep, right there. Now, the other thing was when you have divergence like that, you could also wait for a close above the MA1 and look to take that trade right there. We did get the close above the MA1. If you waited for the close above the BBC or the close above the MA1, either one of those was a profitable trade. Alright, so scrolling to the right, you see the next arrow points to the bearish cross right there, and the subsequent pullback up to the BBC, which dropped down 100 points. And there was another opportunity to trade that as well, where that next arrow is that Burt has at about 10 o'clock on Burt's chart. Over there we had some bearish divergence, and we were looking for a close down below the MA1. That trade had, when I had said it, I had said they'd probably use a 10 by 30 bracket on this because I expected to get down to 740. It got down to 745 or in that range. It didn't get all the way down to 740, but either way, it worked out well. Then the next arrow that Burt has drawn on there at 10:13 on his chart, after the bullish cross, it pulled back to the BBC for a long trade. That was just a textbook long trade right there, and it kept going up from there, right up into the break. And that was the morning session trading. Well, those are the trades available from the morning session. Okay, you can see right now we have a bearish cross and prices pulling back up to the BBC up there at 813. So given the way things look right now, we're probably going to start to put in some bearish divergence, and that's a very high probability trade. The thing that I would be watching is the size of the bar pulling up to it. If it's a huge bar with a lot of momentum, I'd like to let the bar close and show me something on the downside. Also, the area between the MA1 and the BBC, that's the window of opportunity. Usually when you get your bounce off the BBC, it's going to go right to the MA1. So that window right there. Right here it looks like there's about 30 points in that window. So you could risk 10 to make 30 on this one as well. Alright, I'm going to stop the recording now so Burt can relax a little.